So there's a verse in the Dhammapada, the collection of short verses, teachings. I don't have it exactly word for word, but it's something like, as a fletcher straightens the shaft of an arrow. So a fletcher is what in the old days would have been an arrow maker, someone who makes arrows. Nowadays they would be made by machines, I think, probably. And so it's saying, as a fletcher straightens the shaft of an arrow, so we must like train and straighten our mind in alignment with wisdom. And I like this image. I really like the old-fashioned. The Buddha was around a long time ago, and he uses similes of things that were around, that were happening around him, and I really like that. Even though a lot of the stuff these days is machine-made and technologically oriented, so it's a little bit different. But if you think about it, if you have an arrow, if you're a hunter or if you're a soldier and you need your arrow, it's going to have to be extremely straight. It's going to have to be perfectly straight. And any little knobble or bend in that arrow is going to send it in a direction that isn't the direction you want it to go in. And if you're extremely skilled, you might be able to get it where you want anyway, but you have to be like top quality skill to do that. Get a curve or something on the arrow. But generally you want it to be able to just go directly where it's meant to go. And so a fletcher would really take a lot of care in preparing that arrow shaft, both in choosing the right wood and then seasoning it in the right way, letting it dry in the right way, and then getting it absolutely straight. And it takes time to do that, and effort and intention. And so the Buddha's saying, likewise with our minds, if we want to direct our mind towards awakening, then we have to be really clear about all of those bends and knots and also maybe how mature the mind is, how mature our mind is or isn't, And that's not necessarily aligned with how many years we've been around. You might notice, at least I noticed for myself. So he uses this image of, there's a potential to go in a way that's very direct and clear. And so if you're an archer and you're using arrows that have been made badly, then it's going to be a lot of hard work and somewhat frustrating. And you may occasionally hit the target and often not. And rarely will it work out the way you really want it to. So you want to have that really clear, straight arrow so that you can at least have a good shot at hitting the bullseye there. And it's likewise with our minds. So we might want to be happy. Pretty much everyone wants to be happy, so far as I know. Even really kind of grumpy people, it's like there's a comfort in being grumpy. Leave me alone, I'm enjoying my grumpiness, So we all want to be happy in whatever way we perceive that to be. And that's like the arrow, the target. The target is to be happy and have a sense of peace and well-being. Then if our mind is all over the place, or if we've kind of got a secret little bend in our mind, or even it might be a complete knot and tangle, then we're not going to experience the happiness that we're looking for. We're not going to find that sense of well-being. And then to turn towards the mind as it is, and to begin to train the mind and the heart, so it's both heart and mind. It can be exactly the opposite of what we might imagine happiness and well-being to be. It might be awful when we first stop and turn towards the state of our mind. might be very uninspiring. We might not really want to look, but we must look and turn towards things as they are, because we're living with this every day, with the conditioning that we have here, with the tendencies that we've cultivated, some good, some not so good, some confused, some clear, We're living with this every day. And we can make things work on a sort of comfortable enough, okay enough kind of level. But it can be much better than that. And it takes some work. So, there may be habits that we have. We all have things maybe even from childhood, and we can defend them because I've always done it like this, and my family did it like this, and this is how we do it where I come from. I'm from this part of the country or this part of the world, and we do it like that here. This is how we do it. And so we maybe defend certain patterns that are not actually that helpful to us. And then we've defended them, so they've got a nice, they've got their roots in nice and strong, and they'll just keep on showing up in the same ways and sort of derailing things in our life in the ways that we're familiar with. And that will just keep happening on and on ad infinitum unless we do something about it. So the first thing is to turn and look here, turn towards our own inner experience and look in a really honest way. And also to know what are the filters that we're looking through. So if we're very critical, if we have a tendency to be very critical, when we turn and look here, we're going to be very critical of what's here. So we might find all of the things, lots of things that we need to work on, but we don't see the most important thing, which is a tendency to be overcritical. So if that is our tendency, then mostly what we need to do is appreciate the good that is here. We need to counter that. Because of course we will find lots of things that are wrong that need to be attended to. Everyone will do that. But if the tendency is to be overcritical, then we don't want to bring that to our experience. We don't want to add that on top. That's just more pain. So we want to strengthen the good, appreciate the good, recognize the good qualities. And then once that's stronger and there's more of a sense of well-being, then we can still attend to the other things that need to be corrected or better aligned with the path. But we've got to start from the sort of fundamental basics, the fundamental basics from which we're beginning. And for some people it might be really greedy and excited about lots of things and can have a great time, going from this to that and the other, and yay, And like the Buddha gives that image of a monkey swinging from branch to branch on the trees, and this fruit, and this fruit, and this is great. So it's like it's fun, but it's not very forward-leading. So we need to be discerning maybe about what we're jumping after. So turning towards what's here with interest and openness, and with a recognition that probably there's some work to be done, and this is good. This is good to find. We find what needs to be attended to. Sometimes it's like composting. We have to compost things so that we get from the leftovers, the trash, to the really good soil. And that takes some time. And it's easy just to carry on in a way that's sort of comfortable and familiar. Even though I say that, but life does actually sort of pull the rug from under us from time to time. But it's really valuable to have a sense of what is the potential of this life, of this mind, of this heart, of our relationships with others. What is the potential for this? And how can I straighten the shaft of the arrow to align with this greater potential. So, ethical conduct is a really, really important foundation for our lives and for the path. And then meditation practice is the transformative practice. It's great to read and study and have good friends. All of these things are really good and very precious, actually. But it's the meditation practice that transforms things. It's like the magic ingredient that transforms, that can undo very stuck patterns and that can show us a greater reality than we've seen before. And then through that, wisdom arises, greater clarity, greater understanding. And through that greater understanding, there can be more compassion for one's own predicament and then for the suffering of beings that is in many, many forms. So it's sort of and then that, we can't just stay in the midst of the suffering of everything. We also have to drop into that peace again, that deeper presence. And then it's all of these things, they feed on each other, they support each other, they deepen together. And our potential as human beings is very beautiful. It's like there's a sacred potential that we have. And it's not what we're shown on the TV or in the newspapers or, newsreel. But it's here. So to put energy and effort into, and time and interest into rediscovering our greater potential, our sacred potential, is precious work indeed. We can do that in little ways and in more dedicated ways. It might be like a retreat. We give ourselves to retreat for some time. It might be a long, ongoing, steady process in our life. It might be a mixture of the two. One supports another. But finding our way back to our greater potential is the kind of wonderful goal of this path, or the wonderful direction that this path leads us in. And along the way, it isn't always so wonderful. Even though they say the Buddha is beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, and beautiful in the end. It's a lovely description of the Dhamma. And then my experience has been, it's beautiful in the beginning, quite a lot of hard work in the middle, and then beautiful in the end. Probably, I haven't got there yet. But yeah. But then there can be a beauty also in the hard work, because it's leading to greater understanding, greater letting go, greater true interconnectedness. So yeah, this is I don't know if everyone here, but different people have different relationships to the path. It might feel like a path in one's life, or it might feel like something you just do sometimes, on a weekend, or something you're trying for a little while and then go on to do something else. But I really encourage this path of awakening to the Dhamma as a life path, a whole life path. You don't have to be a monastic to do that. The Buddha opened up, different forms. You can do it in family life, in monastic life. It's all good. But the work is to turn towards what is happening here and now, in this being, in this moment, and with great honesty and interest. And then be willing to meet, at least start somewhere. You don't have to do everything at once, but start with one place and start that transformation process and see where it leads. And partly what we're doing is we're blocking off areas of distraction or of kind of leakages. So it's a different simile actually, but if you think about there's places where the energy goes that's just not really going anywhere useful. It's maybe familiar, comfortable. It eases a certain intensity that might happen as you build up the practice. But you never get beyond a certain point because the energy leaks out. So it's closing off those leakages, and then the vessel can fill and fill and fill, and it might feel a bit scary or a bit uncomfortable because it invites transformation. But as we stay with it, that transformation gets more and more wonderful. It can go through scary times, and then it gets beautiful. So the Buddha is pointing us to our higher potential. Having realized it for himself, he points us to our higher potential. Everyone. Don't have to be anyone special. In fact, it's a huge hindrance if you are someone special. So to little by little, day by day, with the help of teachings and of good friends also. It's very helpful to have good friends. We can transform the old harmful patterns and habits and start to experience a greater freedom and happiness in our daily lives and be a source of blessings to others.